Good afternoon, everyone. I am Laiflor. So today I'm going to tackle about the forms of reasonable adjustment. This is the continuation of the lesson of Miss Jamalin. Before we start, what is reasonable adjustment? So, ang reasonable adjustment ay mga changes or modifications na ginagawa sa teaching or assessment para maging fair at inclusive ito sa lahat ng learners. In short, ang reasonable adjustment makes assessment fair, clear, and accessible ito. At the end of this lesson, the learner should be able to 1. Identify forms of reasonable adjustment, such as using local dialects and oral instruction. Next is explain the legal, ethical, and OHS responsibilities during the assessment process. Last is understand the importance of confidentiality in handling assessment materials and results. Next slide. Forms of reasonable adjustment. Translate English into local dialects. Changing English instruction into the local language so everyone can understand the assessment clearly. So, isa sa mga forms ng reasonable adjustment ay i-translate ang English instruction into local dialect. So, bakit kaya kailangan i-translate ito into local dialect? Para mas lalong maintindihan ng mga learners ang instructions kasi hindi namang English proficiency ang sinusukat dito, kundi yung actual skill nila. Next is use oral in place of written instruction. Giving instruction by speaking instead of writing, especially for learners who have difficulty reading or writing. So, dito ginagamit ang oral instruction imbes na written para sa mga may difficulty sa pagbabasa and also sa pagsusulat para mas clear and fair ito sa mga learners. Next slide. Legal and ethical responsibilities. Occupational health and safety. It is important to inform the candidate nature of work and the potential hazard it may cause to should be reminded of the precautionary measures. So dito, we as a facilitator or a assessor, kailangan natin ipaalam sa mga candidates kung ano ba yung klaseng gawain ang gagawin nila at mga possible hazard. Next is select them to undergo assessment if they are not wearing apron, protective equipment, or they are exhibiting unsafe actions. So dito, we as the facilitator or assessor, kailangan nating ipaalala ang mga safety precautions like pagsusuot ng PPE, for example, apron, gloves, and helmet. If there an unsafe action, kailangan itigil muna yung assessment para sa kaligtasan po ng lahat. Next slide, confidentiality of the assessment process means that all information about the assessment should be kept confidential. So dito, no need to explain naman na siya, basta lagi natin tatandaan na lahat ng info na makukuha natin is dapat confidential. For example, is assessment question, procedure, and also the results. Itong lahat ng to is dapat hindi natin sinishare sa iba. Next slide. The assessor must ensure that the following must be kept secured. So we have integrity of the assessor. Must kept in secure place. The assessor should ensure that all the copies of the assessment package are retrieved after the assessment activity. So this will guarantee the integrity of the assessment package. So we as the assessor, responsibilidad natin na i-secured ang lahat ng assessment materials and kunin ang lahat ng copy after ng assessment. Next, we have candidates assessment. Result must also be kept confidential to ensure candidates' personal integrity. The assessment result can only be made available to authorized personnel like his supervisor or human resource personnel where he works and to the institution where he is actual have his training. So dito sa candidates assessment, as I've said kanina, lahat ng info na nakuha natin sa mga candidates is confidential but pwede siyang i-share sa mga authorized personnel like for example is HR or supervisor. Next is assessment procedure. So, process must also be kept confidential. The assessor must inform the candidate to refrain from giving any form of information that took place during the assessment process. So, dito sa ang assessment procedure ay confidential din na dapat ipaalala natin sa mga candidates na wag natin i-share yung info. Next slide. Pre-consent of candidates. So, assessor must ensure that the candidate was not pressured in any way to be assessed, adheres to quality system, policies, and procedure of the workplace. So, dito, we as the assessor, wag naman natin na i-pressure yung candidates natin. Next is integrity of the assessor. Assessor must not in any way make assessment decision in favor of somebody request, be it the candidate, a close acquaintance, friend, or even powerful people. The decision must be solely based on the result of the assessment. So dito, we as the assessor, hindi dapat tayo nakikinig sa mga favor ng iba kahit kaibigan pa natin siya or mataas yung position niya. Ang decision is dapat nakabase sa actual assessment ng mga learners. Next slide, appeal process. Appeal for reassessment to gain an independent second opinion will apply in case where a candidate is judged as not yet competent and believe they have been incorrectly assessed. The underlying principle of an appeal process include, so dito sa appeal process, kapag ang candidate ay na-judge as not yet competent at alam naman nila na mali yung result ng assessment, pwede sila mag-reassessment. Number 1 is a natural justice for a candidate to avoid unfair treatment or assessor's error of judgment. So dito, para ma-make sure na they treat fairly and avoid bias. Number 2, an incentive to quality and consistent performance by assessor. So dito, para naman ma-motivate yung assessor to always perform high quality. So, sino ba naman ang hindi tatama rin kung ang sahod mo is mataas? Last is assurance to employers and candidates of the objectivity of the assessment system. So, dito, both employers and candidates gave assurance para maipakita yung assessment system is fair and trustworthy. So, in short, ang appeal process is a way na ma-make sure na fair, transparent, and professional and assessment system and may chance ang mga candidate na ipaglaban yung sarili nila if ever na mali yung assessments. So, that's all everyone. Thank you for listening.